Hello, and welcome to Japanese Craft Beer Reviews. I'm here today with Al in Japan. Hello, Al.
Hello, hi.
How are you
Good to see
doing?
you. Very well indeed.
Okay. We've been going through a bit of a cold spell here in Japan, and so it makes going outside a little bit difficult. I was out shopping today, and I noticed some snow on the mountains where I live. So,
Ah,
yeah, up in the ski areas. So, Al, what are we going to be doing today?
well, stumbled across about a week ago a Kirin beer, which I had not seen for a while. I guess I hadn't been paying attention, and this is the Toretate hop.
Okay.
Um,
What
and
is
I guess
what is
you know the
what does that
details.
mean?
Oh goodness, what does it mean? Does it mean fresh hopped?
Yeah, pick
Fresh picked
Toretate.
hops. Oh, toru, okay.
Yeah.
To pick the
So
hop.
it's, yeah. So the past tense version of that verb, and the hops are freshly picked. hmm So
Yeah.
where did you find this one?
Yeah, this was actually at gosh, where did I first see it? I mean, it's actually probably Hankyu Oasis department store.
Okay.
So they are not necessarily, they don't, unlike the convenience stores, they don't always keep up with the most, every month's, changing labels and so on. But this is pretty well established. And I think the fact that's probably why it showed up there.
Okay.
I was pretty impressed that this is one of the early attempts, as I remember, of uh, Kirin or any of the brewers really differentiating their
hmm
beers based on hops. And at that time, when they first came out, if I recall, using fresh hops rather than pellets and so on was kind of emphasizing the aroma just a little bit more than normal. That was just kind of the beginnings of paying more attention to the hops and trying to appeal to the consumer with nice, lovely pictures of the green hops
Yeah,
around the
absolutely.
can there.
Yeah. I'll put a link
How,
to the Kirin website, which has more information about the hops. Certainly. Yes, Alan. Yes.
yeah,
hmm
it's been a long time since I've had this, but I
Okay.
think you're gonna tell us how long this has been coming out for. But it's been but I have a couple
Okay.
decades. I remember going back. Yeah, this was exciting when it first came out.
Yeah. Yeah, and so Al and I are probably dating ourselves here, but we've both been in Japan for quite a while. So this beer this is the 21st year, in fact, that they put this out.
Ah, my goodness.
And
Wow.
they started in
Okay.
2004. And in fact, I have video reviews of 2000 vintage and 2021 and 2023. I don't know what happened in 2022, but I must have been sleeping. Uh, this is, of course, 2024. And again, the full name
Right.
is Kirin Ichiban Shibori Toretate 2024. And the Toretate again means pick or take away. And probably all beer drinkers know Ichiban Shibori in the US. It goes under the name Ichiban. Um, and so the 21st year, and I will try to put a picture up of all the cans that they have done for that, the labels. They're different every year in certain ways. And this year, one features the hops for sure, as Al mentioned. Uh, the hops are from Iwate Ken, from an area called Kono City, and the
Hmm.
hops are Ibuki hops. Ibuki hops, which is a Japanese hop, and they are flash frozen and then used in the beer, ideally in 24 hours, and that's it. Basically, the
Hmm.
definition of a fresh hop beer: 24 hours
Right.
into the brew. Kirin is quite active in hop development and also trying to support hop farmers in Japan. They apparently buy 70% of all hops grown in Japan, which is quite high percentage. Most of the brewers buy their hops from abroad, for example, from Washington State or from Europe. And hop production has been declining in Japan. The website, which I'll put a link to, shows a graph which shows the decline from 2008 to 2020, going from 450 tons down to 150 tons. So the problem is that the farmers are aging and they don't have any successors. And so they're worried that Japanese hops may eventually disappear. So
is it difficult climatically? Isn't it difficult to grow hops? I mean, I think of the humidity, and that would really restrict where you could possibly grow, I imagine.
Right. Hokkaido has a much better climate for hop growing, I think, than Japan. These are grown in northern Japan, which has a much cooler winter, certainly. But yeah, humidity. Okay, so it's basically on the same level as I don't know, maybe Northern California or Northern Midwest, something like that.
Yeah.
Not quite up on the level of Washington State, or there's that line that goes across the globe that people like to talk about, the latitude of Munich,
right.
Munich, Milwaukee, Seattle, that sort of thing. So
right.
And that's of course much higher than this area.
Right, and Washington State is where the hop growing goes, like Yakima area and so on. Is pretty much, it's almost desert, not quite, but it's very, very dry. Very little rainfall, very dry. So it makes it's amazing to me that they're growing hops in Japan, but living in Kansai, it's almost unthinkable. Given the humidity.
And in fact, people are growing hops down here now. Certain people have hop projects in this area, but again, the climate is just not ideal for it. So let me talk briefly about ibuki hops, which are the hops used in this beer, and they are a Japanese hop, and it's basically a kind of an improved version of the Shinshu Wase hop, which is probably the biggest hop grown in Japan, and it's created by a cross between Zatz hops and American white vine hops, which I am not familiar with, but between those two. And so on Rate Beer, this one it's not organized by year, but it's basically 2008 and earlier, or 2009 and after. And for 2009 after, there were only 26 ratings when I checked, and the average is not terribly high. 2.89 out of 5. 32 percentile for all beers on Rate Beer, and 89 percentile for its style, which is considered pale lager international premium. And Untapped, there were 140 ratings for this year's, for the 2024 version, and the average is quite a bit higher, 3.44.
Okay.
5% alcohol by volume. Don't know the IBUs. It cost me 203 yen at the store where I bought it at Yamaya. Pretty low priced, and which would be $1.32 in US dollar terms, and €1.26. So released in November, at the beginning of November this year, and again, I'll put a link to the page, which you can get a lot more information and read about. If you don't read Japanese, of course you can use a translator, I think. So, okay. Yeah. So again, so we pick this beer.
Oh yes, shall we? We shall. We have picked it.
Shibori is a standard beer in Japan. It's a year-round beer. This is a special edition of it. And again, in the US, it simply goes by the name Ichiban. Okay, so what do we got here? That's a very pretty beer, as always.
Well, it's pretty aromatic. I mean, the hops did kind of jump out. I haven't followed this year by year, but I wouldn't be too surprised if the early versions, that the recent versions might be better. They've had a long time to really up their game.
Yeah. No, the hops
Wow.
really, really jump out, don't they?
Yeah,
My.
that's
Yeah, this is quite different from Ichiban Shibori. Wow, very floral.
I get floral citrus kind of going on, which is
Hmm. Absolutely. Oh my, this is quite pleasant.
well, yeah.
Yeah. So as Alan and I both can attest, generally when Japanese major breweries tout an ingredient in the beer, they generally put too little of it to be noticeable. So, including hops. Yeah. Oh, very pleasant.
Yeah, good aroma.
Okay.
Nice. Cheers. Kampai,
Cheers.
sir.
Bye.
Mike.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Goes down very smoothly. What'd you get?
I get a bit of a lemony character, very light, kind of a light
Absolutely.
body, lemony,
Hmm.
maybe that floral note in there. It is quite different from the, kind of typical German hops that you would
Hmm.
expect from a Japanese lager and from Kirin. Wow. Yeah, well, it's definitely different. The malt is really dialed kind of down. I think they might be
Absolutely.
spending the money on the hops, and I think maybe in compensation they're kind of pulling back a little bit on the malt, or possibly they're trying to feature the hops by
Mhm.
keeping the malt fairly
Yeah.
I don't want to say thin, but let's say understated.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's a polite way to say it, I guess. Yeah. Understated. Ichiban Shibori is not a terribly malty beer by itself,
Mm,
but this seems a little bit less malty than that, even. So,
mm. It's
hmm, absolutely citrusy.
mm,
Mid palate gets a little hop jump and kind of tangy
yeah.
on the tongue.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. I think that's a
Little,
good description.
little tiny, kind of spiciness.
Yeah. Just a little bit of malt kicks in, you're kind of in the middle of the palate. And that light malt kind of carries through to the end, but very much kind of a hops determine the flavor here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the hops continue through the finish. Kind of light tracks at the end, hanging on.
Mm.
Hmm. Pleasant beer, really.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I know why they released this in November because to feature this year's hops, that makes sense. The style was really perfect for summer.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, it's
Unfortunately.
more of a summer beer in that sense, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely worth a try. I think, and it's
Mhm.
pretty widely available. It's limited, but it comes out every year in November.
Yeah.
And like I said, it probably hangs around into December. So this
Mhm.
is when you're likely to find.
Yeah, you can find it in the convenience right now, I think, or certainly in the liquor stores. Yeah, it is limited. You're right. It will disappear, certainly. Uh,
But it's more available than a lot of limited ones, which will sometimes you'll see for 2 weeks and they'll be at the convenience at Family Mart only, right? And then they're gone. And
yeah,
you'll never
yeah,
see it again.
yeah. I
But
don't think this
no,
is not an exclusive to any convenience store at all.
mm,
Yeah. So yeah,
mm,
this is very pleasant,
well,
light, extremely drinkable.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'd say that this is for the majors. This is a good one to pick up.
Yeah.
You could compare it to the regular Ichiban Shibori if you're in Japan.
Comparison for sure. Yeah. I can tell right away that I mean certainly the malt character is much stronger in here.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Alan, how many languages can you say cheers in?
Oh boy. Well, there's Kampai, there's
Japanese, kanpai. Huh?
Gombe,
Gombe is
right?
Korean.
I think. Or,
Korean
uh,
Gombe.
Gombe is Korean. You know that one. So let's see. What is Chinese? Qingdao?
No, maybe
that's a beer.
Maybe similar to Gombe or something like that. Yeah. Spanish.
Probably,
Salud.
I suspect.
Salud in Spanish.
Salud, Spanish. Down the hatch, maybe the British or something like that.
Which is salute.
Here's mud in your eye for some reason. I don't know how that one ever came about, but
in German,
to your health. Prost, yeah. And the Scandinavian ones must be somewhat similar to Prost, right?
Skål.
Oh, okay, that's school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bringing back memories.
Yeah.
Italians. I wonder what do Italians say? It must be similar to
saluti, maybe, or
something like that.
Yeah.
What about the French?
French salute. Salute?
Oh, salute. Okay.
A votre sang.
Ah.
Health, right?
Salute.
Yeah. Well, we better stop here before we run our intelligence into the ground.
Yeah, I think we've hit the limit right there. So,
okay, ladies and gentlemen, again, this is called Kirin Ichiban Shibori Toretate Hoppu 2024. It's a beer you might want to pick up and give it a try. Alan and I can both recommend it, I think. And
it's got character. It's got nice aroma. It's lighter. It's not going to be a heavy winter beer. Again, great food beer. Worth a try. It's not going to revolutionize your world, but it is worth a try.
All right. Thank you very much. And I hope you will subscribe and send a comment. We'd like to hear from you and let us know what your experience with fresh hop beers, which of course is a much bigger thing if you come from the US than it is here in Japan. But in any case, thank you very much. And thank you, Al.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
See you on the rebound. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
I hope so. Bye now.